so this is Whiskey. Now I am moving, so this video is going to be far lower quality than any of my other videos recently. I don't know where any of my recording equipment is, so we're balling with what we got. So with him, a big thing was refreshing some obedience that was already on him. He's just learned that he doesn't have to do it. I didn't ask for this, so I'm not going to reward it. He can do whatever he wants. He's just trying to see what I want, which I'm happy about. So I'm not unhappy that he's doing this, but this is kind of like, I'm doing it, but I'm being kind of a brat. Like you can see he's pawing me. He's being kind of rude about it. I'll kind of move him away when I don't like what he's doing, like trying to get between my feet. I'll move him with the leash. So really with him, what I'm seeing more than anything is a big lack of boundaries. So he just kind of does whatever he wants. He's learned that if he's loud enough, he'll get away with it. So loud enough in the sense of like, yes, he is verbal on certain, corrections and things. But he's also very floppy and everywhere, which isn't abnormal for a German Shepherd puppy. But I'm thinking a lot of his behavioral issues are due to a little bit of a lack of structure and clarity. So bringing that back has been a really big difference for him. I haven't seen any resource guarding from him yet. I've been having him, if I drop a piece of kibble, I have him hold a stay and then I'll pick it up. Haven't had any issues with that. As we get a little bit more reliable here, we're gonna start doing more high value things. So maybe we'll get a little something out of that. But ideally, I want to work with the dog being successful. So if obedience makes him successful and he doesn't show me resource guarding, that's not a bad thing to have. Now, temperament-wise, he reminds me a lot of a dog that just went home actually for its board and train named Mav. If you look back on my YouTube, there's a Malinois named Mav on there. Very similar personalities. So not easy dogs to handle, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not bad. Do take a lot of guidance to stay on the road. We got the rewards on one hand and then corrections on the other. Both are going to be very important for these dogs, and we may find ourselves correcting a little bit more than we would with like maybe an average pet dog. They've just got a little bit more of that want, that drive and stubbornness. So it just takes a little bit more to convince them that no, you don't have that other option. And for this dog in particular, having that other option seems to be what's kind of triggered some of those behaviors at home that we're not liking. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask him for a heel. Whiskey, heel. Good, very nice. So he does sit crooked, so I'm feeding his head outward like that to kind of entice his butt to move over. He's hunting for kibbles, but if he gets up, that's when I'll correct him. Now, sit. Good. And I'm going to reward the stay for a second. I want him to kind of get his brain together. Good. He tends to get very frantic, so we do have to take these little pauses to say, hey, you don't have to be a million miles an hour all the time. Heel. So his e-collar has a rising stim option. I found for him the rising stim, is most useful when we're healing. When we started healing, it was like he's never done it before. And I know he has. So adding that rising stim, my phone fell off of the thing I'm balancing it on. But I found having that rising stim helped him have more control over how do I want this to go, rather than we're just sitting there static stimming and he's fighting through it. Good. Heel. So he's being a little bit of a turd. You can see he keeps checking the ground. That's less of a I'm genuinely needing to check the ground and more of I don't want to do what you're making me do. So I'm going to see how I can get away with not doing it. Good. So I'm going to be really heavy on my rewards when he is cooperating. Good. And use my physical contact here via the leash to bring his head back up. Good. And I try to kind of hold his food good until he stops that jumping crap. I've been getting after him good for jumping on me. So far that's been going great. I don't want to encourage that in the heel because that's rude. Good. Now again, as I said, structure is very important. The heel, I'm considering, yes, that's structure, but it's more of a convenience. No, heel, sit. Little things like sitting in front of me, like he looks the same probably on camera, way out versus at the side. Am I happy with this sit position? No, but we got bigger fish to fry, so I can kind of fix this at the same time, but it's not something to spend all of our time on. But structure things, making sure he stays in the sit if I ask him to sit and stay at the door, all that kind of good stuff. Good. That creates that boundary of kind of who's running the show. Impulse control is pretty hard for him, which is normal for most dogs. But he's definitely does not like to be in one place for too long. Sit. So we've been working a ton on this, kind of easy stuff. We've also been working on the DOWN. As you saw in the beginning, he kept wanting to go into it, so I don't want to keep working that and overworking it to the point where it's going to be even more of a problem. Good. And the more high strung my dog is, the more I'm being like cognizant to take my time and do everything at my pace and not his, because it gets our energy very high and the dog feeds off of that and things just kind of get messy. So, you know, always make sure that when we're working the dogs, we're being very level-headed. Now, when I do end the session, I do like to give him a jackpot, so I will get excited for that. Yes, good boy, wow. I do want it to be fun, you know, it's not all just no, no, no. But this is a dog that very much needs to hear that no. And we're running out of light here, so I'm probably gonna wrap up our session because my camera is looking like it is no longer picking us up very well.